In this video, I thought we'd give a rundown of the top 10 things that you should be doing in any garden, really, but particularly in a cottage garden. So, the first thing for me is transplanting plants that have outgrown their starter pots or cells, if you haven't done that already. So, that includes anything you started in, en masse in a tray, in a cell, in winter sowing bottles. As you can see here, I started these ageratum in winter sowing bottles, and they are absolutely crammed in here and desperate to get out. So I'm going to try and separate as many of those without losing any as possible, but I'm sure I will lose some. But that's one job. Second job, hardening plants off. So I need to make room in my greenhouse now. I need to start getting my tomatoes, cucumbers, and my veggie things out. So I need to start getting my dahlias and plants that really can handle living outside now. I need to harden them off. And so that involves taking them out every day, leaving them outside all day, and then bringing them back in at night for about a week. There are some shortcuts to this process, which I may discuss in another video, but that is something you have to start doing now. After that week is up, then you can just leave them outside. I mean, double check, of course, whatever plant you're hardening off, such as a dahlia, for instance, make sure there's going to be no frost before you leave them out for good permanently. So the third, funny enough, talking about dahlias, I am potting up my dahlias now. I don't know whether you did your dahlias like this, but I shallow pot up my dahlias so that they're more accessible for taking cuttings. Now, if I'm going to start hardening those dahlias off, I need to pot them up because they need soil as a duvet around them to protect them from those lower temperatures and to just give them a bit more of a cushion, a bit more warmth as I'm hardening them off. So that's another job I need to do, is pot up my dahlias that I have had in the greenhouse on the hotbed for taking cuttings. Now, just as a side note, I did actually notice that some of those dahlias I planted, because I planted them indoors on a windowsill, I didn't put drainage holes in the pots, and some of those tubers have rotted. So just a side note on dahlias there. Of course, you do know that. I know that. But I thought I was draining them off and keeping an eye on them. But clearly, they got wetter than I thought. Fourth job is gladiolus. Gladiolus. I am a bit late starting these. I do have some that come up every year, so they're already growing in the garden. But gladiolas are the sort of thing that you can succession sow. Succession start, because they're not seeds, they're kind of corms. And so they're really good to start now. You could have even started them earlier than now. And then you can do some more in a few weeks from now, a couple of weeks from now, so that you'll have a succession of them throughout the summer. You can probably plant them up till the end of June, and you'll still get some, flowering in August, etc. The reason I like to plant these up and start them in containers is because then I have more control over where they will go in the garden. I can see where there's going to be gaps. I can see if there's a pot that needs some sort of showy plant in it. And it's just easier than having them in the garden. My first planted my gladioli straight into the ground, and I had no control over them. They came up, I didn't exactly like where they were, and then they're more difficult to move. So I'm starting my gladiolis in little foil trays. I don't want to start them in big pots because that will take a lot of soil and be very expensive. So I'm starting them in little trays, shallow trays, just to get them rooted and shooted. And then as they get a little bit bigger, I can pot them on if I want, or I can pot them straight into the garden. So that's what I'm doing now. Watering seems a strange, number 5, watering. It seems a strange thing to tell you to water, but since you are planting out new plants at this point and planting up seedlings and all the rest of it, it's really essential when all these baby roots are trying to establish to make sure you keep up with the watering. We've had a lot of rain here where I am in the UK, but we don't get it every day. And sometimes we only get a light rain, which might not penetrate in certain areas, especially if there's a leaf or a big, bunch of plants. They might protect that little seedling or whatever that you've just transplanted from getting any rain. They might provide some sort of cover. You need to be on that. And also typically with your pots, anything you've planted up in pots, you need to be on that. My clematis dry out really quickly. I have quite a few clematis in pots. They dry out very quickly, even in the rain when it's rained. So you need to be on top of the watering. Anything with shallow roots that you've just transplanted, you are just going to keep, you need to going to keep on top of the watering for those plants until they have really established and put on some good growth. Number 6. So I am turning my mind to making compost teas and potassium teas. So I'm keeping banana skins and I am going to make a tea out of them. Now I'm not doing them in this video because I am actually doing a whole video on my banana tea, which is potassium rich feed for my plants, and then just a general compost tea. But you can use other, so for instance, ferns have good nitrogen in them, so you could use ferns, and nettles. So I'm going to use my lamium also because they are related to nettles and I have lots of them in the garden. So you can use those for making teas and fertilizers. Anyway, as I say, I'm going to do another whole video on that. But, come April now, everything's growing. May, especially when everything's putting on super growth, you need to start thinking about how you're going to feed them. And preferably, you're going to feed them organically because, let's face it, there is far too much poison on this planet right now. So that's my number 6. Number 7, staking peonies, delphiniums, tying in your sweet peas and all that. I mean, my peony, I've got one peony that's just supercharged. It's grown so tall. It's so strange. So I've had to stake that. I've got tulips that fell over in the wind. So I've had to put a stake in those to hold those up. So yeah, that's something you need to think about doing. As all your plants are putting on growth, you need to think about staking them. Deadheading tulips, so if you want the energy to go back into the plant, you need to deadhead them. So don't be confused with flower farmers who say that if you pick a plant for a cut flower, a tulip for a cut flower, you can't use the bulb next year, it's not going to grow. And I don't even know if that's true, but if you leave the leaves and the stem on and just take off the head so it doesn't produce a seed, that does send the energy back into the bulb. And by leaving the leaves on, the plant can do everything it needs to get energy from the sun and then push it down into the bulb. So deadheading tulips. Also, tulips get to a point where they start dropping their petals. They can start to look a bit scruffy. So deadheading petals is something you definitely want to be doing in April. 9, sowing. I forgot to do this in my video. I forgot to show myself sowing my zinnias because I am going to start my zinnias because I'm going to use zinnias to replace my ranunculus, and I want them started before my ranunculus are finished so that there won't be such a big gap between the end of my ranunculus flowering and then my zinnias flowering. But it's a little bit too cool to start my ranunculus outside. Sorry, my zinnias outside. So I'm going to start those in the greenhouse. Sowing. So you're looking, the point is I'm looking to sow things that are going to fill gaps because we're getting to the point now where, I can see my ranunculus are done, they're established, they're going to flower, they're going to do their thing. And then I've got to think beyond that. And I've got to think beyond that now. So last year I did do zinnias, but the birds ate them, picked them all off, and I wasn't really prepared. I was kind of reacting to gaps in the garden. This year, I'm getting ahead of that and I'm thinking ahead. So I'm thinking, I know when that gap happened and that gap, and I had nothing to plant there. So I'm thinking about that and I'm sowing to anticipate those problems ahead of time. Number 10 is just tidying. So tidying up the garden, throwing up, like I got all those gladioli out and I've had to collect up the packets. I've got bottles that have blown about in the wind, cloches that, upturned bottles that I used, they've blown away. We had very high winds. Just things like that. Just going to keep my potting table, which is always a mess. I've always got to tidy that up. And just because what you don't want when your flowers finally come and everything, I mean, you've probably already got flowers now if you had tulips and everything like that if you weren't landscaping like me. There's a lot of flowers already out, and you want the backdrop to those flowers to be beautiful. So tidying, weeding, cutting off, stray branches and brambles, things like that. Mowing, if that's your thing. I don't have any grass to mow at the moment, but yeah, just keeping on top of everything so that when those flowers come and you have that beautiful final display, that display comes, you want everything else to be tidy and in place so that you can really enjoy the garden. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. That's 10 things that you should have been doing in April, and if you haven't, you can still do them. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.